All right, well, in a significant boost to bilateral defense cooperation, India recently handed over a made-in-India patrol vessel to Seychelles, underscoring New Delhi's commitment as a reliable partner in the Indian Ocean region. This transfer not only enhances Seychelles' maritime security capabilities, but also reflects India's growing prowess in indigenous shipbuilding. This handover is part of India's broader push towards self-reliance in naval capabilities. And over the past decade, the Indian Navy has undergone a remarkable transformation with a rapidly expanding indigenous fleet. India has commissioned dozens of advanced warships and submarines built entirely or largely within the country. Key highlights include the aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, which was commissioned in 2022, the Vishaka Patnam class stealth destroyers like INS Surat, the Nilgiri class stealth frigates such as INS Nilgiri and INS Dunagiri, and the Kalvari class Scorpene submarines. These platforms feature high indigenous content, advanced stealth technology, BrahMos missiles and Barak 8 air defense systems. This growing indigenous naval strength seamlessly supports India's ambitious Mahasagar vision, launched in March 2025. Building on the earlier SAGAR initiative, Mahasagar expands India's maritime outreach beyond the Indian Ocean to the wider global south. It focuses on four key pillars: maritime security cooperation, economic and trade connectivity, capacity building for smaller nations, and sustainable development. Through Mahasagar, India aims to position itself as a leading provider of security, training and development assistance, fostering mutual growth while promoting a rules-based maritime order across the Indo-Pacific and beyond. In a sense, the ship gifted to Seychelles, India's rising indigenous fleet, and the Mahasagar plan together illustrate New Delhi's emergence as a confident maritime power committed to collaborative security and prosperity in the region. With that, let's now also take a look at the new PS L'Espoir ship, and then of course we're going to go across and discuss the same with our guests as well. All right, I'm going to go over to the big screen, and as you can see about the PS L'Espoir, the builder is of course the Goa Shipyard Limited in India. It's a coastal EEZ surveillance, patrol and maritime security vessel. The armament, it has 1X CRN 91 naval gun with 2X 12.7 millimeter stabilized remote controlled gun as well. So the specifications obviously are worth bragging about. The length is 41.43 meters, the beam is 8 meters, and the displacement is about 320 tons, which makes it quite a force to reckon with. The draught less than 2.5 meters, the speed max 30 plus knots, and the propulsion is 2 times 3000 kilowatt diesel engines with the controllable pitch propellers, that is 2 engines which are of 3000 kilowatt each. The range is 1500 nautical miles at cruising speed. The endurance is for 5 days if all these parameters are checked and met. The complement is 5 officers and 34 personnel who can be a part of this particular vessel. Let's also discuss the broader strategic angle that India has been trying to drive home as a result of these outreach programs that it has wonderfully conducted now with Seychelles. Let's talk about this. Joining us on the program is Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, Major General A.K. Chaturvedi, defense expert, with us on the program as well. Commander Bhushan Devan, former Indian Navy officer, joins us on the show. Captain Sham Kumar, former Indian Navy officer, also with us on the program to talk more about this. Ambassador Sikri, I'll begin with you, ma'am. Well, if I remember the earlier part of the 2000s, India was completely dependent, not dominant as it is today, when it came to its not only naval supplies, but all of its deterrent supplies were met with imports. It's a far cry from what we see today, but the fact of the matter is, considering that the war in the Middle East is still topsy-turvy, it's still hot and cold, India is not stopping right there. It's also making sure that apart from creating a structure of defense for itself, it's also enabling and helping its neighbors, which is of course something what the Americans and the Russians also did to become superpowers.
Yes, absolutely. I think that India's vision, I mean, especially Prime Minister Modi's vision of Mahasagar, the mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth for all in the region. I think this is you're seeing the actual implementation of this through Prime Minister's current ongoing visit to Seychelles. I mean, just look at how the relationship has really grown by leaps and bounds. We know that Prime Minister had last visited Seychelles in 2015, and that visit was a prime ministerial visit from India after 34 years. And now, after 11 years, Prime Minister has gone the second time, and we've seen in between that President Yermenik of Seychelles was in India in February, and a number of very important agreements were concluded during his visit to India on the credit line. A very huge credit line has been given to Seychelles, the largest ever, and that the whole area of help from India for Seychelles was delineated, and that is being implemented. And one of these we saw, as you were just describing, this fast patrol vessel made in the Goa shipyard. So you can imagine that we are now not only we've speeded up our Atmanirbharta program, our Make in India program, and you're quite right. Just last week, Prime Minister, inducted three new frigates into the Indian Navy, which was a very major thing. And now we're seeing that we're giving these fast patrol vessels made in India to our friends abroad. And Seychelles is very much a part not only of our Indian Ocean outreach, but also of our neighborhood first policy, because our maritime neighbors have now been included into India's neighborhood first foreign policy. And you're seeing the outcome, the kind of respect that our Prime Minister is receiving. It's a 3-day visit. He's received the highest award from Seychelles, and he's been honored as a chief guest for the Golden Jubilee celebrations of Seychelles, which is also the Golden Jubilee of India's relationship with Seychelles. And he's made an address to Parliament, which was very, very well received. So these are all honors given to our Prime Minister because they're respecting the attention and the importance and the security dimensions of our Prime Minister's visit. On things like digital payments, on the UPI payments, that is being agreed to, on peaceful uses of outer space. So the satellite links for Seychelles, we are helping them with that as well. So there is absolutely such a comprehensive approach that Seychelles is absolutely, the people are so warmly welcoming our Prime Minister. Even the festive appearance of the handing over of this fast patrol vessel was such a great event. And Seychelles is now going to be included in a number of the naval exercises between India and with all the other countries of the region, where Seychelles is also going to be part of the Colombo Security Enclave. So it's very much part of India's ongoing security dialogues with our neighbors. So Seychelles has been included in all of that. So it's really a very substantial and substantive, this visit, and Prime Minister's wholehearted, open-hearted approach to meeting all the needs of Seychelles and bringing them on board as a important partner in our region. I think that one has to really appreciate not only the vision of our Prime Minister, but how it's being implemented so dynamically and so effectively, which is all absolutely on display during our Prime Minister's visit to Seychelles.
You're quite right. And Commander Devan, I also remember that India has, have had a topsy-turvy relationship and intense diplomatic friction riddled relationship with the Maldives as well, which of course India recalibrated. Muizu, wanted to have India out in every way possible, but yet India being, the mature country over here, India being the larger country in all aspects, did not really buy into those kind of tantrums, and that is perhaps something which also rang a note with other island countries such as Seychelles.
Yes, true you are. True, your statement is highly valid. In 1976, on board INS Trishul, I had attended their Independence Day at Seychelles, Port Victoria, at my island. A lot of Indian diaspora there. The area is about 1400 square kilometer, 500 square kilometer. And the EEZ is 4,000 times that. almost 1.4 million square kilometers. It is like half the India's EZ, and 115 islands as we are talking about. And I must tell you, the challenge for us in Seychelles, China is also giving us a run for our money. China is supplying them patrol boats, aircrafts, coastal surveillance system. And of course, good thing is when we talk of CSR, coastal surveillance radar system, we got 6 radars all over Seychelles supplied by India for their coastal issues. UN has 39 countries under SIDS scheme, SIDS, small island developing nations. Out of that, 6, 7 are in Africa itself, in Comoros Islands. The Seychelles is the western post of IOR. And in Gurugram, we have this, Indian Ocean Data Fusion Center, IOFC, Gurugram. So all the data from all over Indian Ocean is centered and processed over there, whether it is oncoming earthquake, tsunami, piracy, whatever you have. So Seychelles is the post there, and Seychelles is very critical because it is very close to the Asia, Africa, and Europe trade routes, and very vulnerable. So very vulnerable. And China is also, after having taken Djibouti, China is also still trying to muscle in into Seychelles. And like Maldives example, the Seychelles is playing a good game, taking gifts from both India also and China also. And our this export of petrol vessel from Goa GRSC, this is the 4th one we have given them. The earlier one was Constant, that was the first generation. Now this is 4 years back, 18, 19, we gave the second generation, Zoroaster. Now we have given, this is all second generation. You can take a helicopter on board also. These SIDS, small island developing nations, the major challenge is their income comes from fisheries, their income comes from tourism, and they are also highly prone and vulnerable to piracy, drugs dropping, and people are very happy-go-lucky. 3 days that we were there, and there was American warship, Russian warship, British warship, and huge. I'm talking 1976 personal experience. And also, there is a coup, like the Maldives story. There is a coup in Seychelles against Rane. President Rane was almost longest-serving ambassador-in-law of head of state of Seychelles. There's a coup attempt against him, and Rajiv Gandhi provided an aircraft to quell that coup. And now we also have Assumption Islands project, which is a very critical project. India had a base there actually, but now that has been put in abeyance because the new government feels, the opposition feels, what is this mutual development? No, we need not have mutual development. So it is held in abeyance actually. Our aircrafts are there, our training is happening, and also that EEZ at 1.4 million square kilometer, India is jointly patrolling with Seychelles, for Seychelles, on behalf of Seychelles. So all that is happening. But the critical issue is that, of course, we have $100 million, line of credit for them, and we are very happy to give them these things. But coming to the development, I've been in Goa also, GRSC, the MD there was my friend, junior colleague. What we are presenting, what we are, developing, producing there, the petrol vessels. It is not high-tech really, it's not high-tech, but you can always have advancements. It's the area of, it is an era of miniaturization and modernization. So like UAV, small is beautiful, is happening. So this is the 4th petrol vessels we have given them. And we have also given the Dornier aircraft. And this petrol vessel can take a helicopter also on board, I don't know if I mentioned this. The point I'm making is that to my mind, let's be humble about it, it is not, producing this petrol vessel and supplying to Maldives or even Mauritius or even to Seychelles is not a very high-tech issue. And coming to defense export also, I don't want to be a fun spoiler. You see, in the top 10 countries importing defense equipment, India is number 2. Number 2, first is Saudi, then we are there. And in terms of exporting countries, top 10 exporting countries defense, China is number 4 or number 3, and we are nowhere in that list. So we have to do a lot of catch up actually. We will need to pat our back on every little victory also, a big victory in any case. But the point is we have to go miles before we, catch up. And we have to do that. Aircraft, China produces 1 aircraft carrier every 3 years. So anyway, better late than never. Whenever you get up, that is morning. So we are going forward full strength. So and Mahasagar is the Indian Ocean version of SAGAR. This holistic development of So I think it's a very good development going forward, and let's see how it pans out.
All right. The Mahasagar is the big pivot here, and General Chaturvedi, the Prime Minister has been very, very clear that just securing our shores and our international waters is not going to be enough. India has to be, a lot more magnanimous, and that's how you build partnerships, and that's how you also prepare, against a country which has been aggressively targeting our oceans, and that country is, of course, China.
Yeah, frankly speaking, few years back when Atal's government was there, we had decided that our area of interest is from Bab al Mandab to Malacca Strait. So, firstly, that maritime domain we have identified that what is going to be important for us. Now, look at the geography of Seychelles. Seychelles is in a position from where I will not go into the equipment. Commander Diwan has substantially added to all these things, but how it is going to be useful, that is important. You know that if Hormuz, which is now closed, sometimes closed, sometimes open, sometimes closed, sometimes open, India started diversifying its route from all over the world. Secondly, in case if East-West pipeline, energy pipeline in Saudi Arabia becomes important, so from Yanub if it has to come, then Seychelles suddenly assumes great importance. China sitting in Djibouti, we will have to put surveillance there. So that is what Seychelles is very important. Assumption Island issue which he mentioned, I think that is a non-starter. Instead of that, we are going for Agalega in Mauritius. So now, even if some, say, Venezuela or US-based energy supply route is to, this chap is central, because whether it is from west, that Malawi Strait also is very important for us. So what I am saying is that it is very, very important in our security matrix, and investment into it is very, very useful. A. B. What is Ambassador Sikri's domain? In case if we start having, say, kind of a, say, vaccine Maitri, and now with this kind of a thing we are providing to the smaller countries in this domain, this helps us heft into UN in other international fora. So therefore, I think it's a very, very important aspect. And as far as naval modernization, I remember in 1983, I had a discussion with the then Raksha Mantri, and at that time he said the Indian Navy is the only one which goes for indigenization. It has a long gestation period. I had some chance to serve as the Chief of Staff in Andaman and Nicobar. We had one of the oldest ship which did not have even bridge. Indian Navy started there, and today we have gone a long way. And I think the way we are going about it, I think we have got this US-Iran war has proved that technology alone is not the panacea of all problems. Its operationalization and its tactical and strategic use is far more important. So therefore, Seychelles is very, very important in our from Horn of Africa onwards towards west and east both. So therefore, I think we might investing into Seychelles and Maldives and Mauritius and with France, say, collaborating in Djibouti at their base. These are all very, very important aspects in the maritime domain. Awareness and surveillance and networking with the other countries. So to my mind, it's a very, very good step forward. And somewhere we had to start, and we are doing, I think we are doing well. Okay. In last 10 years, we have from 400 crore, we have reached 38,000 crore. I think that's an achievement we should be proud of.
Fair enough, sir. Let me also get a response from Captain Shyam Kumar on this as well. Captain Shyam Kumar, we are doing well. We have exceeded expectations, but that should not be the end of it. What should be the target here when it comes to the grand scheme of things, including Mahasagar?
Thank you, Vinit. Jai Hind, Sana Varuna. First of all, I am very nostalgic because we are talking about Seychelles. Right behind me, you can see a ship, INS Sharda, and you can see Operation Mitrata, which is written there.
As warship captain of INS Sharda, I went to Seychelles in 2003 and carried a lot of equipments while going to firstly Mauritius to gift a helicopter from HAL and then to Seychelles for gifting a big lathe machine and many other equipments for their utility. I stayed there for 4-5 days, carried out EZ patrol with the Dornier, our Dornier, and then other assets. And we did some exercises. We went towards Assumption Island. Many more things to say about. Yes, it's a long history. And from 2005 onward, India started gifting, whether it is herons, whether it is topaz, whether it is Zoroaster, 2005, 13, 15, 16, and now Lepswar, which is again a fast petrol boat with a helo carrying capacity. So long way. Mr. Malay Mishra was the High Commissioner and the Chief of the Seychelles Democratic Force. Seychelles doesn't have a navy per se. It has a small air force. Indian Navy Coast Guard is training ALH, Dornier, surveillance aircraft. We talked about island chains. We are trying to develop some infrastructure in Seychelles domain, and we have succeeded earlier. Right now it is in a different level. The crew is operating these radars, and we are getting continuous data from these radars for our requirements and patrolling in that area of operations. Because we are doing a coordinated patrolling in this area on a regular basis. Dio Garcia is not very far, 2,000 kilometers away, and Mozambique Channel is very close by. So there is a lot of requirement to have logistic support and far-fetching distant approach support system from Seychelles for us to maintain a visual surveillance in this area of operations. There are many things else to say about, but one photograph I want to show you here. This is the ship that I carried and the media briefing which is going on. There are many more here. But what I want to tell you is, with the Mahasagar concept, our Prime Minister has gone to this place second time. It was much required because in this area of operation in Global South, Indian Navy has taken a very strong view of cooperating for 40 countries, and we are getting the data as Gurugram as brought out by the previous panelist, and we are actually working upon it. Second time we have carried 40 representative of the various maritime countries of the region together in the Indian Ocean voyage, and we have shown them search and rescue, disaster management in peacetime, and for the common grid against any adversaries or people who are outsiders. Their role or their piercing through into Indian Ocean must be thwarted by a common grid, and that is why this is required. So I'm sure our
Fair enough. You're quite right, but we have completely run out of time. Appreciate everybody who joined in. Thank you so much for your inputs. We'll take a short break now. Be right back.